There came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his beard, on his head, as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor.
Now, there's some accounts where it says Judas
Right.
was the one that said that, but in this account it says the disciples. Go on.
When Yahushua understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For you have the poor always with you, but me you have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Excuse me. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this that this woman hath done be told for a memorial of her.
And that's the only woman that Yahushua honored.
Right.
That was it.
And that was a great act that she did.
Right.
But then if supposedly Mary's supposed to be this mother of God, why wouldn't he make mention of that?
Where's the doctrine that Yahushua taught that?
Right. What
Mary was divine and all. Now you had all these guys with different councils, right? You had the council, the Nicene Council,
yep,
where they say we're going to make Mary divine. Why didn't they consider that?
Right.
That Yahushua in his day, when he was doing his ministry, he didn't put Mary on a pedestal.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Right. Pause.
Right. So why didn't they make any mention of the Lord, worshiping his mother, or making mention of this great thing that she did? And like you were saying,
with all these different councils that was back then, why didn't they consider the fact that Yahushua never taught about honoring his, worshiping his mother?
Right.
All right, for lack of a better word, worshiping his mother. So that's the point.
Yeah, because that whole thing about, Mary's divinity didn't really come about to the Council of Nicaea around 325 AD, which all it was just a mention. They just, amongst themselves, they mentioned whether, if the Lord Yahushua was divine, would that not make Mary divine? And it was a question that went without answer, which brings up that, this term that you had brought out earlier.
Right. Sonny Dye, which you could go ahead and read the top part there.
So this is from Wikipedia, the Free Encyclopedia. A German Sonny Dye from the Latin without day means without assigning a day for a further meeting or hearing. To adjourn an assembly Sonny Dye is to adjourn it for an indefinite period. A legislative body adjourns Sonny Dye when it adjourns without appointing a day on which to appear or assemble again.
And just like you were saying, you go back to explain what you were saying about those councils.
Right. So then in that, they used to keep records of what took place in the council, but it never was brought back up because it was never, it was just something it was a thought. Then eventually in 431 AD,
right,
at the Council of Ephesus, that's when they made Mary worship divine.
Now you can go ahead and read that. This is an account that we found out, by doing research, and we're going to read that account to you, brother.
Right. This is on this date in 431, the Council of Ephesus. All right. It says in 428, Nestorius, which I believe this is a picture of him here, which he was a Jake.
Yeah, he was a Jake. He was an Israelite.
Nestorius was appointed by Emperor Theodosius II to be Bishop of Constantinople, the imperial capital. Soon Nestorius was embroiled in controversy. Difficulties began with his early resistance to the long-standing practice of calling Mary the mother of Jesus.
Yeah, his resistance.
Right.
Notice that word there.
So now the resistance wasn't them calling Mary the mother of the Lord. The resistance was this, that they called Mary by this title, by the title Theotokos, literally the God bearer.
Right.
Because they were worshiping Mary by that point. It says Nestorius favored Christotokos, the Christ bearer. In other words, she bore the Messiah. This he believed would better accommodate the distinction between the two natures of the anointed, the distinction between his divine nature and his human nature. This was risky business. The established use of the terminology in almost any context dies hard. But in the religious context, battle lines can be especially dangerous. Still, Nestorius was the bishop, and in this capacity, he bore certain responsibilities. One responsibility was to pursue greater clarity in the formulation of a doctrine that was both important and mysterious. So the discussion evolved from judgments about proper terminology to stormy debates about the meaning of the doctrine itself. The term Theotokos seemed primarily to express an elevated status for Mary as God-bearer, but
which he wasn't with that.
Exactly, which shows that he was right. He was on point with that.
Yeah, but I mean, when he said that Mary was the Christ bearer, well, right. It's true,
right?
You know, but she wasn't. What these people are implying that Mary, all life came from Mary,
right?
That Mary was to be worshipped,
the mother of God.
Mary gave birth to God Himself,
right?
Go on, brother.
It says the term Theotokos seemed primarily to express an elevated status for Mary as God-bearer, but it also placed substantial emphasis on the divinity of her son. So when the story, which that was what came up in the Nicene Council, they were trying to establish Mary as being divine. But you got to remember that this guy, Constantine, he was a pagan. He was a sun worshiper.
That's right.
So they were trying to incorporate the pagan customs into the scriptures because he was already worshiping. He was already a pagan, and it was because of his mother Helen that they brought in this whole Christian thing, Christian doctrine into the what they call the Holy Roman Empire.
Now you mentioned the sun worship as a custom. Now we have the scripture on the ready, like Elder Tahar says, Jeremiah 7, because woman worship was practiced back then. All right, that's why you had the example of when that woman said to Yahushua, "Bless are the paps that you sucked, and blesses the womb that bare you." And again, Yahushua put that woman in her place.
That's right.
Yahushua said, "Yeah, rather blessed are they that hear the commandments and do them."
That's right. Hear the laws commandments of my Father and do them.
Right.
That's right.
He didn't subscribe to that philosophy. Anyway, because you mentioned about those customs. Let's dip into that real quick.
You got the actual.
Yeah, Jeremiah 7 and 17 to 20.
All right, Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 17. Seest thou not what they do in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem? The children gather wood, and the fathers kindle the fire, and the women knead their dough to make cakes to the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto other gods, that they may provoke me to anger. Do they provoke me to anger, saith the Lord? Do they not provoke themselves to the confusion of their own faces? Therefore, thus saith the Lord power, behold, mine anger and my fury shall be poured out upon this place, upon man and upon beast, and upon the trees of the field, and upon the fruit of the ground, and it shall burn and shall not be quenched.
Yep, you got it.
So basically, that's the point is here in the 18th verse, the children gather wood, and the fathers kindle the fire, and the women knead their dough to make cakes to the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto other gods, that they may provoke me to anger. And that's all they did. They took that situation with Mary, which they didn't even do that. The Jews in Jerusalem, some of them weren't into that. It didn't come till like later on, around the time of the Nicene Council, when the Mary worship was really getting on its way.
Yeah, till later after Israel was totally destroyed, after 70 AD.
Right.
That's when, pretty much the nation was destroyed. So, they went heavy into the Queen of Worship. But like Elder Ramab said, in the time of Yahushua, that wasn't really practiced back then.
That's right.
All right. And that's why Yahushua didn't go around teaching a philosophy of worship. My mother should be worshipped. Remember to worship my mother.
Right.
All right. That wasn't taught back then. But my point and your point is, why wasn't that during those councils that they had back and forth? Why wasn't that brought up?
Right.
The fact that Yahushua never taught that.
That's right.
That doctrine. Well, the reason why it wasn't brought up is because they wanted to make that doctrine to make money.
That's right.
All right. Now we'll show you that. But matter of fact, let's show you that.
Okay.
Let's go to the account in Acts.
All right.
Acts. It's Acts 19. Acts 19:22 to 27.
Okay. Acts 9, chapter 19, verse 22.
Mm-hmm.
So he went into Macedonia, two of them that ministered unto him. So he sent unto Macedonia two of them that ministered unto him, Timotheus and Erastus.
You know what? Start at 21.
Okay. Acts 19 and 21. After these things were ended, Paul proposed in the Spirit when he had passed through Macedonia and Achaia to go to Jerusalem, saying, after I have been there, I must also see Rome.
Mm-hmm.
So he sent into Macedonia two of them that ministered unto him, Timotheus and Erastus. But he himself stayed in Asia for a season. And the same time there arose no small stir about that way. For a certain man named Demetrius, a silversmith, which made silver shrines for Diana, brought no small gain unto the craftsmen.
Now stop right. Diana, what does that bring up?
The Queen of Heaven.
The Queen of Heaven. Now you just read in Jeremiah how that was a custom.
Right.
All right. But you know what? Now that I'm thinking, you had Jakes back there that was secretly worshiping the Queen of Heaven.
Yep.
All right. That's why later, after we read this, we're going to read the statement that this woman made to Yahushua and how Yahushua put her in a place.
Right.
All right. Go on.
It says, for a certain man named Demetrius, a silversmith, which made silver shrines for Diana.
Wait a minute. Who was Demetrius selling those silver shrines to?
To other Israelites.
To other Israelites. Why were they buying those silver shrines? Because they were the same Israelites back in Jeremiah that was worshiping the Queen of Heaven.
That's right.
So when that philosophy of the virgin birth and all that crap came up, it's no small mystery that the Israelites were all into it, and they're still into it to this day.
Yep.
All right, go on.
Brought no small gain unto the craftsmen, whom he called together with the workmen of like occupation, and said, sirs, you know that by this craft we have our wealth. Which proves what Elder Gabar was saying, that they were doing it for money. You know, and
that's all about money.
And
yeah,
that's,
go ahead.
No, that's the reason why the so-called church fathers of the Roman Catholic Church incorporated that pagan worship into the church, because they wanted to gather those pagans out there, you know, to get money from them. And they knew that if they went directly according to what the scripture said, those pagans weren't going to be with it. But if they made it appealing for them, they can get the people that are in the church and those pagans that were outside of the church, which are Israelites, into the church, so they can make money off of everybody.
They could corner the market.
Yep.
And that's why another reason why they teach everybody could be saved.
Right.
You know, because it's all about, you notice these churches out there, they accept anybody.
Yep.
Why? Because there's more money for their pot.
That's right.
All right. It fattens up the money pot.
Right. And that whole worship of that whole doctrine of the whole world can be saved and anybody can be saved goes back to Jupiter, you know.
There you go.
And then, you know, maybe, you know, if we get a chance, we'll hit it
for another time.
Yep. All right. It says, moreover, you see and hear that not alone at Ephesus, but almost throughout all Asia.
And then Elder Tahar did that lesson. Was it last week?
Mm-hmm.
About Israelites up there in Asia.
That's right.
All right. Because we were scattered all over. Go on.
It says, moreover, you see and hear that not alone at Ephesus, but almost throughout all Asia, this Paul had persuaded and turned away much people, saying that they be no gods which are made with hands. So that not only this our craft is in danger to be set at naught, but also that the temple of the great goddess Diana should be despised and her magnificence should be destroyed, whom all Asia and the world worshipeth.
Right, the world is talking about there is the world of Israel.
Yep.
The Israelites. All right, so guess what? That craft came up again, or revamped itself through that virgin birth concept.
Yep.
That's why we tell you guys, man, you see them guys that believe that in that virgin birth crap, that they're really worshiping the Queen of Heaven. They're really under the worship of women.
Yep.
All right, that's what, you know, that's what they're into.
Yeah, and they some of them they're the same guys that was back then in these different councils.
Exactly.
Exalting Mary.
That's right.
And there's a little bit more left on this.
Yeah.
The Council of Ephesus. It says the term Theotokos is seen primarily to express an elevated status for Mary as God-bearer, but it also placed substantial emphasis on the divinity of her son. So when Nestorius purposed the alternative Christotokos, he was suspected by some of denying the divinity of Yahweh.